We seem to be at a moment where technology is moving really rapidly, but the construction industry continues to stagnate. What is that core problem that we're facing?
One thing is risk mitigation. We somehow fragmented the whole process from early design initiation all the way to commissioning into small bits of fragments with different stakeholders, with different taking care of the risk from their end. Those fragmentation is not very conducive for making the whole process efficient. If you look at where the data is starting from design initiation and how that data is trickling towards to the end, from estimating to procurement to commissioning, it's not a pipeline, it's not a highway, it's a goat path, going from a mountain.
It's interesting because you look at other places around the world who construct with much more humble means, and they're able to build things much more quickly. What is it specific about the United States or the Western world that makes it so hard to actually get things done? I think that's a question on a lot of people's minds, not just architects and engineers.
I'm originally from Turkey. For example, going from the design side, a designer generally produces, we are talking about reinforced concrete building, produce all the way up to each rebar, how it's going to be bent, what's going to be the length of each rebar. Here, there is a certain cutoff. Okay, this is my design intent. Now you take over and, create the fabrication shop drawings for me.
So the role of the architect in other places, in Turkey, for instance, is much more involved in the entire process versus here. Yeah. You have the architect who says, this is what it looks like. The engineer delivers that or translates that into something that can be constructed.
Alex, you're an architect. What is it about architecture here that's much more focused on the design, the renderings, than about actually being someone who knows and manages the end-to-end process?
I think it's a little bit like doing exercise without actually understanding how to do the movements. You don't really know why you're doing this. You just know that this will help you lose weight or this will help you get fit, but you don't really understand how it fits into a larger, process, how it changes your body. And so in the case with architecture, if you're not building with material in mind or assembly in mind, you can create beautiful things. And by the way, with technology these days, you don't need to know those things. Like you can just put something into draft something in 3D software and make it look beautiful, agnostic of cost or of gravity or of what your contractor is going to say to you. But at the end of the day, you do need to deliver. And I think this is one of the issues too, is we don't really focus on the product. We focus much more on this process and don't think about outcomes. So when you probably don't encounter an engineer until you land your first job, and then you're sitting across a boardroom table with them and they're telling you this can't be done. We need to fix this. And you're saying, what do you mean it can't be done? I designed it that way. So it is a little bit of an issue, I would say, in terms of delivering projects, but it's what Murat, you were mentioning. There's that you have to bring multiple parties to the table, and it's about how you create that communication as well.
And I think that one of the promises of AI, at least the connectivity, is that multidimensional thinking, right? The same goes for, Alex, what you have described about architects also goes for engineers, right? Okay, I'm designing this way. I'm going to use this. I'm going to detail this beam. I'm going to put this rebar, etc. But is it really constructible? Or similarly, is this really the cheaper solution for the contractor to put things together? I think that connectivity enables that, right? While you are, as an architect, deciding where should the window go, at the same time, the engineer is trying to design the building, but somehow thinking about schedule impacts, estimation impacts, procurement impact.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that is potentially helpful on this discussion about AI in construction is forefronting cost. Because if there's one thing that we do need is some sort of currency that says, okay, how do we get the greatest impact for our resources?
Most modern.
Most modern.
Most modern.
Most modern.
모스트 포던 팟캐스트